Welcome to Discourse, a podcast about music as a medium for conversation. Our guest today is Kotic Couture, a rapper, DJ, and multidisciplinary artist based in Baltimore, where she is known as the Queen of the Underground. She serves up a unique sound that combines club music, hip-hop, techno, and ballroom culture. Kotic, you've been collecting accolades lately, like being named Best Local Artist in 2023 by the Baltimore Magazine. You were on a cover feature with Be More Art magazine, but you've been writing songs since middle school. Tell us a little bit about your creative process and kind of how you got to where you are.
I was a weird, lonely little kid. I had three older brothers, so being the youngest, naturally nobody really wanted to entertain me that much, and I always needed to be entertained. So I just started writing music a lot when I was younger, or just started writing in general. And around middle school, my brother just wanted to freestyle battle me one day because I think he just like discovered freestyling while at school, and he challenged me to the battle, and I just kept writing music, and I never stopped. And when I got to high school, my high school was a trade high school, so you could pick a career pathway. And my high school was the only high school in Maryland that had a radio station. So, being a hyperactive ADHD undiagnosed child, like I hated all the classes that didn't interest me, and I excelled in everything that did. So when I got into broadcasting, I would finish my work so quickly. My teacher would just let me do whatever to keep me busy. So I just started recording music. And that was MySpace era, which also simultaneously a random under 21 club opened in my town, which I started DJing at and throwing parties. And then I would perform. So I kind of just took advantage of being a nerd and knowing how to record and upload music. And I don't know, it was like a cool little thing that everybody in my town seemed to be interested in. And it made me seem like made it seem like a music career was possible. So I just kept gunning for it. But it all kind of happened by accident.
Nice. That's really cool that you had those programs. Like we had nothing like that where I grew up.
It
um,
That's crazy. I feel like so many. I don't know. I like trade high schools. I mean, granted, our
yeah.
education system could have been a little bit better, but I feel like for the area we lived in to be trained to have like those other technical skills like welding, auto mechanics, and stuff like that, it was so normal to me. I didn't realize that other high schools weren't like that until I moved away.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And there's something very powerful about like having your own space and, doing your thing and having that freedom. And I feel like dance is kind of the embodiment of that kind of energy. So I'm very excited today. We're doing a dance party theme. And it feels very celebratory to me. So let's get dancing.
Yes.
Right, music
Let's dance.
starts. Yay!
Just
Music
dance.
starts in three, two, one. This first song is Way Too Good by Izagara and Fig Tape. It was released as a single on Gara Records in 2024. Kotic, tell us about this one.
I randomly found this song going into an H&M and it was playing while I was in there, and I ran into a friend of mine and we were having a conversation, and I just stopped him. I was like, can you just for a second? And I ran to the speaker to Shazam this song. It was like the last 30 seconds. And I just get very hyper fixated on music. It's something about like that kind of like drum and bass inspiration, and her light and airy vocals, but how it meets like Fig Tape on that hook. I don't know. I'm very much like sounds calm me, or it gives me a lot to focus on. So this song is just like pleasing to my ear. And the first time I heard it, it caught my attention. So just been obsessed with it since.
Nice. I love this is like very mellow dance, which I don't think of immediately with dance songs, but it's very, very beautiful.
That's a good way to describe it, Melo. I think so. There's been such an expansion of dance music that it is nice to see these like you can have a more relaxed approach to something more up tempo, and it can be true to you as an artist. So I agree. I like that expansion of dance music.
It reminds me of like Bollywood music a little bit in some parts. Yeah. Like
I can
obviously
hear
it's
that.
in English, but like some of the beats and the melody of it a little bit.
I can hear that in some of the ad libs too. It kind of sounds futuristic too to me.
Yeah, it like slides between genres a little bit. And
Mhm.
it's just not that typical dance approach.
Nice. It's a good one. This
Mhm.
next song is Hey Mama by the Black Eyed Peas. It was released on Elefunk on UMG Recordings in 2003. Raja, tell us about this song.
Yeah, this came out when I was in fourth grade, and I at this time was playing The Sims Herbs, and that's where I heard it. So they re-recorded a version of this in Simlish, the Sims language, and so when you playing, you can hear it in apartments in the radio, um, and that's how I was introduced to the song. But I love the Black Eyed Peas, and I spent a lot of time learning about them after playing Herbs and Sims and hearing this song. And my favorite piece, I guess, is Taboo. But just the vibe of Sims Herbs and this song go hand in hand so much because a part of the game was customizing your sim with like tattoos and piercings, and I think that's what sparked that interest for me personally, with like tattoos and piercings and just in general body modification. I only have tattoos and piercings, um, but just the art of it, I think, moves me, and this song also moves me. Um, it's just a good beat, a good tempo, all of that that makes me want to dance. And I like the flirtiness from Fergie.
I remember this song coming out. It's crazy. Elefunk was one of my favorite Black Eyed Peas albums.
Mm,
Yeah, I feel like all the Black Eyed Peas songs you can really dance to. They always got something
hmm.
moving.
Hey.
I went to a Black Eyed Peas concert once with an ex, and it was actually I never we never got to see them because they were having some issues, so they just had Flo Rida sing for like, well, rap for like 2, 3 hours. And then I think like eventually they came out, but we were like in the front because his parents had gotten us those tickets. And I was like very disappointed that I didn't actually get to see them.
Oh, that is disappointing.
Yeah.
That is sad. Not to like rub it in, but they're amazing live. I saw that.
I know, I
So
was
I feel sorry.
excited.
I'm feeling for you.
Yeah, I was very excited, but like after 3 hours, and it was like during hurricane season in Florida. So it was
Mm,
really like not good weather to be, and it was outside. So it was like we were muddy, we were wet, cold.
mm.
And I was like, please, I just want to see, like, I just want to see them. And my boyfriend was like, no, we're leaving. There's no way.
Very valid.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
terrible
I'm ready to
experience.
see
I'm sorry,
them.
Carla. This next song is Last Dance by Donna Summer. It was released on Thank God It's Friday on Casablanca Records in 1979. Carla, tell us about this one.
Yeah, so when I think of a dance party, I always think of Donna Summer and like disco. I love, I love, dancing to these kinds of like old school songs. And this is a song that I used to play all the time when I lived in Chapel Hill when I would be like driving to work. this and on the radio. I think because it just gets me in a good mood. And I love how it doesn't start out as like, it starts like a slow dance kind of a song. And then it picks up. Um, and then Selena also had done this like disco medley at her last, Selena Quintanilla had done a disco medley at her last show at the Houston Astrodome. And she did a medley with like all of these disco songs, and among them was this song. And yeah, I just love the beat and everything about it. Just want to wear like roller skates and like do a little dance to it.
And this definitely feels like you should be dancing on roller skates.
Right?
I don't know if I can even roller skate. I haven't tried in like, I don't even know how long.
Oh, I love roller skating. There's like a big place for roller skating here in Madrid, and I don't go enough. I've only gone like twice, but I should go more because I love doing it. I love rollerblading.
Street skaters get intense. It's like so fun to watch, but it's like you're so talented. How did you learn this to just be doing backflips and zigzags in the streets?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah. Something else I love about the song is I feel like this music was so like, the time that it came out and everything, like it just makes me feel like, it was like a very beautiful kind of like the music video for it, the outfits she wears, like plus like Donna Summer's like hair was always like this
Hmm.
like, thing. Uh yeah. I loved like looking at my mom had like an album of her that had the song on it, and she's like it's just her like this like blue background, and I was like, oh my god. Yeah. It's also a good song to like end a party.
Yeah, your last dance where you gotta get
Yeah.
everybody in.
Nice. This next song is Yes Sir, I Can Boogie by the Fratellis. It was released as a single on the Fratellis and Cooking Vinyl Limited in 2021. So this is, I don't even know how I found this song. It was just a random one in my favorites list. It's actually a Scottish rock band from Glasgow. It's three unrelated members, but they perform as John, Barry, and Mintz Fratelli, the Fratellis. And they actually got that name from the Goonies. It's the like criminal family name in that movie. But this is really just like a silly feel good dance song. Um, the lyrics are like, "Baby, though I'm shy by reputation, ask all your friends. I'm a sensation. Try me once, you'll beg for more." So it's "Yes Sir, I Can Boogie" is the chorus, of course. It's just very fun, and it makes me want to just move around.
I
And when
love
I
this song. This oh sorry.
no, go ahead.
This takes me back so much to high school because I used to be a huge fan of like Flathead and Whistle for the Choir and Chelsea Dagger. So yeah, yeah, love this song.
It has just like this bounce to it that I really like.
And that movie along.
And I love like an old school sound. Sometimes I feel like I
Yeah.
was born in the wrong era of music.
I do love it when it gets like they're like these kind of resurgences of sounds. Like it's like the younger generation doing their own take on the older style. I
Yes,
like,
yeah. And I feel like TikTok and like Instagram is very good at like doing these remixes where they bring back um
yeah.
And even artists like, like Dua Lipa and Sabrina Carpenter, they're like bringing back some of these rhythms into like pop music.
Yeah, I love a song that properly samples and
Hmm.
adds something new to the sample.
I also like when they tell everyone who they've sampled because I'm too dense to figure it out on my own.
I always like going to listen to the song that's sampled to see like how much inspiration they took from the
Hmm.
original song and
Hmm.
like how much of it was like their own process of creating from that sample,
Yeah.
which sometimes kind of takes away the allure when it's like, oh, this is just a copy and paste. But sometimes it's like, oh, they really like recreated this.
Right.
I actually
Uh,
took like now that you say that, like I took a Beethoven class when I was in college, which was one of the hardest classes I've ever taken in my life. Music is really hard to study. And like the professor would always say that even back in the day where, you couldn't really have, you didn't have recorded music, that artists would still, take from other things that they had heard and had inspired them, and then they would reuse it in their other, and it would move forward in that way. And I was just like, huh, okay. So it's not something that we do now.
Right.
We didn't come up with this now.
yeah, I mean, I think creativity in general, a lot of times, is just pulling things you've seen and, recompositing it in something new. All right, that is round one. It is time for a message from our sponsor. We don't have any yet, so here's free promotion for iNaturalist. This is more nerdy Rex for y'all. iNaturalist is an award winning app for plant and animal identification. You upload photos, it's what you expect. You get automatic ID suggestions, but you can also submit them to the community and you get actual ID confirmations from other users, including scientists. The scientific data is shared with repositories like the Global Biodiversity Information Facility. So it's actually used by scientists to do research. So by using it, you're helping, you know, animal research, which is pretty cool. It's free and amazing. I highly recommend it. Well, let's get into round two. This first song is Touch by Cat's Eye. It was released as a single on HYBE UMG in 2024. Chaotic, tell us about this one.
Another accidental discovery. So there is a Netflix show surrounding a search for a global girl group. They use the K-pop training method of recruiting girls, having them live together for an extended period of time, go through vocal, dance, extensive training. So I started watching this just as like having something in the background. I really am not like someone who follows groups or like likes to stand girl groups, and I'm not really into K-pop to be honest. So but I do love the behind the scenes and the working process of things. So I kind of fell into watching this because of the process, and then towards the end when they started recording music, I was like, okay, this is kind of cute. And then I went to watch their live performances and I heard this song and I was just instantly hooked. It's something about then they're a younger group of girls. They're all like teenage to early 20s. But what I like about them is that it appeals to multiple audiences. It's not so like cutesy and infantilized like a lot of music tends to be with early girl groups, and I think that's what really caught me, and the music is really catchy, but yeah, they're just really talented and I liked watching their journey, but it was also nice to see people caring about the music as much as they do about the like TV product.
Nice. Yeah. I actually, one of the songs I almost picked for this show was by a group that I found out was put together called Nasty Cherry. Like they're, all,
I like
I
that.
didn't know they were doing all of these like created bands lately. I had missed out on
Yeah.
that.
It's a
But
resurgence.
so this next song is WTF, Where They From by Missy Elliott featuring Pharrell Williams. It was released as a single on Atlantic Recording in 2015. Raja, tell us about this one.
I couldn't do a dance party theme without using Missy Elliott. I danced a lot to her songs in college. We had performances and things where we danced to Missy. And when this song came out, I just remember being excited for her to come back, but also to hear those classic hip hop elements and her more recent twists and just the idea of like a dance battle. You can feel it from here, and it makes you feel like, oh, I'm ready to dance battle with somebody from another place because it's like, where are you from? And I'm always big about repping where I'm from, Louisville City, throwing that up. So this song for me is just something that gets me hyped and I want to dance and let people know where I'm from. This is how we show up. This is how we do. And just the drums, everything about this is just like a beautiful composition of music and just like getting you hyped and ready to dance battle and dance for real.
Yeah, I love this song. I think when it came out was when I really realized how much of a powerhouse Missy Elliott really is. Like, of course, I knew the name from forever, but just realizing how much she is doing, like producing, that you don't really notice per se, but
Yeah,
also like a lot of her older stuff feels like it could have been made today. Like, she's just so talented.
exactly. And I love like just Missy's contribution to like Afrofuturism and the
Mm-hmm.
whole idea of mixing like sci-fi into the visual, um, and now thinking about like AI and stuff and how like you hear some of the sounds, makes me think about AI, and but this is something they cooked up. So and she's rapping.
Yep.
Like what else can she do?
She does all of it.
She does. I actually remember when this song came out, I was in a train. I had just got hired. I was in like a second day training for a job, and I seen the YouTube notification pop up on my phone that the video had came out. And I was like, I have to go to the restroom. And I just left to go watch the video because I love Missy that much.
Nice. That was a good choice. I support that.
Yes.
So good. This next song is La Vida es un Carnaval by Celia Cruz. It was released Para la Eternidad on Machete Music in 2016. Carla, tell us about this one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I couldn't have a dance party without Latin music because I am Cuban. So, Celia Cruz, La Vida es un Carnaval. I think this is one of those songs, again, that always puts me in a good mood, and I listen to it at least once a day, I would say. Like, I like to start my day with a little dance party. I feel like it sets the right mood. And the song, it's like a typical party song at any like wedding, baptism, or birthday of a Latino, because I mean, Celia Cruz is the queen of salsa. And this song is just like feel good song that talks about how like life is a carnival and you don't have to cry because it's better to live your life singing. So it always puts me in a good mood. And she also like calls out like tyrants and people who make war and like people who like perpetuate poverty. So in her own way, she always in her music kind of like introduced these like activism because Celia Cruz herself was an artist that was never allowed to return to Cuba. She never got to see her mother ever again. And that's because, you know, she came to prominence during the time of Batista's dictatorship. So when Fidel took over, she was like excluded from that life. So yeah, I love this song.
Nice.
Yeah. It's like also pretty long. Yeah. And she talks about like in the song, one of the things that she always says is like, you know, if you think that like if you're going through like a bad time and um you think it's never gonna end, like it's not like that. Like life is beautiful and like this is just a part of life. So I always like to hear that, you know, because especially I think like people of color, not to say that like of other people don't go through this, but like people of color, immigrants, and people who have had to like leave their countries go through a lot of hardships. Um, and then to that end, still find like a ray of hope or something that gives them hope. And you know, like if you think about during the times of slavery, like slaves were going through all these incredibly difficult times, yet still, you know, they were singing and dancing in their cabins and things like that make you kind of like think about the resilience of human nature. And Celia herself was, you know, the descendant of slaves in Cuba. So that was always very like felt in her music and like bringing to prominence also the image of Black Latinas into music and things like that.
That's amazing context. Just in the seriousness of the content, but the
Yeah.
beat that still moves you. I love that duality of it's like yes, we can go through difficult times, but at the same time
Yeah.
still celebrate being alive, being together, being able to speak out against, and like you said, to continue to persevere.
Yeah.
That's really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think a lot of people try to separate political viewpoints in music, and people don't understand just how certain existences are just inherently political. I think about MIA with that a lot too, because MIA has like very danceable music, even like Paper Planes being her biggest song. But if you
Yeah.
listen to the message in the music, it's like it's danceable, but when you listen, it's telling you so much more. And
Yeah.
I love music like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like, you know, the concept like if you are a marginalized group, like just having joy and, you know, expressing that can be an act of rebellion.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
This next song is British Bombs by Declan McKenna. It was released as a single on Sony Music in 2021. And this is, you know, a very similar song and concept. So it was it's a British artist. His first release was at 15, a song called Brazil that criticized the FIFA World Cup that year. And, you know, this is another song that is very, you know, very danceable. It's very upbeat. And then it took actually picking it for this podcast for me to realize, oh, this is very political. Okay. So what he has said about this song is, I wanted to write a song that was outright against war in any form. It's about the hypocrisy of the British arms trade. Too often it's implied that matters in the world are too complex to not end up with war or to not possess and sell weapons. And I just think that is pure bullshit. So a lot of the lyrics, it's a good old-fashioned landslide, killing with your hands tied. The chorus is, great way to fool me again, hun. Great acting, it's good what you tell 'em. Great Britain won't stand for felons. Great British bombs in Yemen. It is about, you know, people in political power saying that it's inevitable and we can't avoid this, but they're actively creating that situation. So it's a very upbeat anti-war song.
Yeah, very much upbeat, and just that contrast, I think, is kind of illustrative of the message that, yeah, we're lying to you, telling you our hands are tied
Mm-hmm.
and everything's okay because we're going to war, or because we're doing this, it's going to be okay. So that you are happy go lucky, continuing to be a good citizen wherever you are. Um, and that, yeah, just spot on.
Mm-hmm. I'm also very impressed with how young he is to have, you know, anytime a 15-year-old does something remarkable, like gets a lot of press, I'm like, you go, you're amazing. I did nothing at 15.
No, and then that is, I think, what the youth represents a lot of, like
Mm-hmm.
taking us further because they don't have the same kind of boundaries we do, or outlook, or fears, even. So, just that youthful, being uninhibited in that way moves
Mm-hmm.
us forward. So, that's awesome.
It's that healthy untouchableness. Like you
Yes.
said, I think as we get older, it seems like resistance is more impossible because we just become more indoctrinated into these systems. And sometimes, like younger people are just like, no, it's very black and white. Like you can stand for it, against it. It's really not that nuanced. And sometimes that younger, especially teenage perspective can be frustrating, but with the right things, it's very like uplifting and eye opening. And it's very much like a reminder because I know I was very rebellious and vocal at 15. And it's nice to have that reminder sometimes of you just
Yeah,
gotta yell about things that matter.
Yeah.
exactly.
And that line, your country's been at war since birth now. That just feels so relatable, not just for England.
Right. And we carry on.
Yep. It's like, think what we could do if we spent all of this energy that we put on wars on something more productive. Like, we could have such a different society.
That's a global,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, thing that we could do.
Well, that is round two. It's time for a little note on production. Discourse is produced in partnership with Hey Awesome Girl, a full service marketing and creative studio on a mission to help female entrepreneurs build and grow companies that empower their lives. Become a part of their awesome community by visiting heyawesomegirl.com/grow. All right, let's do round three. This song is No Contest by Tanash. How do you pronounce it?
Tinashe.
Tinashe. Okay. It was released on Joyride on RCA Records in 2018. Chaotic, tell us about this one.
We talked about this earlier. I think we said like tempo changes or just like the switch in production. Again, Tinashe is one of those artists to me who, when you go back and listen to her discography, even as a mainstream artist, she's always fought to be herself in how she approaches music and production. And towards the end of this song, there is a nice bass slide that starts into a tempo change, and it's just every time I hear it, I can't help but move. But also, it's just nice to hear about heartbreak or flirtatious and love and all these relationships over something like Dancy, or it's like even if it's moments where they're not good, this one is more happy, but even if there's moments where it's not good, like we can celebrate in that. And she's just a very talented artist that I really adore. So No Contest is one of my favorites from her.
Nice. I really like this vibe.
Makes you want to sway. I don't have a drink, but I feel like I have a drink.
Right, it's very much that. Just like, okay. It creates the ambiance, and it's like you can't help but not just be in that vibe.
hmm
I'm not familiar with this artist. Can you tell us a little more about Tinashe?
Sure. So my best friend, one of my best friends, Rovo Monty, put me onto her. Tinashe was signed to, I think, RCA Records. She had a really big single called Two On, and she had notoriously gotten released from her label situation. And it was because she wanted to make music that wasn't necessarily the mainstream sound. And she is very big for artists of going independent and having a management team and having like a distribution deal. But now she does everything herself. And she's very much a trendsetter. There's a lot of Tinashe videos where you'll see, and then the K-pop girls love her, and you'll see the music videos are exact interpretations of a Tinashe video. But she does a lot of her own production, her own writing. She engineers and records a lot of her own things. She's just very empowering and uplifting, especially to women in music. So if there's ever artists that you want to like deep dive into who are like equally artistic and interesting, Tinashe is one of those people for me.
Awesome. I love hearing about women, especially who do things like that, like are just powerhouses, you know. They make everything work. I'm going to have to deep dive on her. Thank you.
Literally, she's amazing. Because when men do it, everybody is like, ah! But it's like, I think it's so much cooler when women do it because we have like much less resources and it's usually better.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, this next song is Toast by Coffee. It was released on Rapture on Promised Land Recordings in 2019. Raja, tell us about this one.
Yeah. Coffee was 19 releasing this song, and it went viral in my headphones. Just because it's really dancey, vibey, but it can also be kind of like a gospel song. Um, because coffee is talking about being thankful for the blessings from God, and it has this dance hall reggae vibe and music to it that you would find in like a party environment. But it's really just being grateful, thankful about the life that you're living, having grown from whatever was troubling you in the past, and just like positive messages can also be danceable. Um, and so I love hearing and finding different ways people practice like spirituality. And so I think giving praise in this way is cool, but also a vibe. And I think Coffee is also the youngest female artist to win a Grammy for Best Reggae Album. And so I think this song was a big part of that as well. And so also bringing reggae dancehall to larger audiences with that win because it's great music and there's a rich culture behind it as well. Um, and so I'm just excited that we're learning and finding new music from different artists.
Nice. I really like this sound. And also the combo of toast and coffee just tickles something in my brain that I really like.
That's cute. Yeah.
Thank you for this because I'm gonna have to play this when I DJ because I forgot how much I like this song. Like I kind of forgot about
Right?
it for a little bit. I need to pull this off my hard drive.
Yes.
This is going to be a weird comment, but the album art with her hair and her face, it also kind of reminds me of a face hugger from Alien.
No, I see it. I see it.
Yeah.
I see it.
All right, this next song is I Want to Dance with Somebody Who Loves Me by Whitney Houston. It was released on Whitney on Arista Records in 1986. Carla, tell us about this song.
I mean, I think the song speaks for itself because, it's Dame Whitney Houston. I really, really love Whitney Houston's voice, but the song just gets me ready for anything. It really reminds me of 13 going on 30 and that scene where she's like getting ready in the closet. And I like it speaks to me because I feel like that's exactly what I want to do every time I listen to the song. I just love that it's like flirty, it's a little disco-y, but it has this like really sweet beat. And it just feels like, like a very like feminine song. Like this is a song that, makes me feel very much in like my feminine power and like yeah, I want to dance with somebody, but not just anybody, like somebody who loves me and I want to, feel like adored and cherished as I dance. So, yeah.
Nice. This had a resurgence like my senior year of high school, I think. Not really sure why, but like 2004-ish.
That's when 13 going on 30 came out.
Oh, is that why? Okay. That
Yeah.
makes so much sense now. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
A
definitely gives
lot
the
of
vibe of like wanting to be swept off your feet.
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like that movie brought back a lot of like 80s hits and like, like late 70s hits because it also brought back like Thriller and Pat Benatar and a bunch of like artists that it spoke to like people who were maybe our age now.
Yeah.
But yeah, 13-year-old me was also eating it up, so
It is a very cute movie.
it's a great movie. And Mark Ruffalo is still like the guy I would marry.
Oh, that's right. He was in
Yeah.
that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's the romantic lead. Mark
Yeah.
Ruffalo and Jennifer Garner. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I remember
That's the
like being a
power of a
little
good
girl and being
soundtrack.
like, yeah. Sorry, Roger, go ahead.
No, you're fine. See, really, I said that's the power of a good soundtrack.
Mm.
Yeah, great soundtrack.
Hmm.
Yeah. Whoever worked on that movie soundtrack is like chef's kiss.
A
Because you're
lost art.
curating the
Movie
feeling.
soundtracks is a lost art.
Mm.
Wow.
Hmm. Because you create moments that kind of go or last long after the film. And so that's
Yeah.
what people remember how they felt during that scene or during that
Yeah.
moment.
Or
And you can
sometimes you just
remember,
find really good music in that.
Mm-hmm.
true, true.
I feel like Sofia Coppola is very good at doing movies that have great soundtracks. Like the Marie Antoinette soundtrack is excellent, you know?
I need to look into that.
Yeah. Of course, the Bodyguard soundtrack with Miss Whitney.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Also, Cinderella and was it Princess Diaries? Because Whitney.
Yes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah,
were saying 13
definitely.
going on 30, I was thinking like Princess Diaries, like that whole era of everything. It's like the music is as much like Freaky
Yeah.
Friday, all
Oh
of
my
the
God,
Confessions
Yes.
of a
yes.
Teenage Drama Queen, Mean
Oh my
Girls, Bring It
God,
On. It's
yes.
like the music is as much tied to the film as the film
Mm-hmm.
is to the memories.
Yeah,
That's so true.
yeah. And I was like a very angsty teenager, so all of those songs and those soundtracks always like spoke to me. And I mean, I know they were like movies aimed at that demographic, but I was like, yeah, I want to get out. Don't want to grow up. I want to get out.
It made me think of
Yeah,
As If by Black, I
yeah,
think.
That's the first song I literally was
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
about. I was like thinking about As If, because Bring It On is my favorite movie.
yeah.
Iconic.
Nice. This last song is My Type by Saint Motel. It was released on My Type EP on Elektra Records in 2015. So this song I found in a movie as well. It's in Mr. Right, which is a rom-com starring Sam Rockwell and Anna Kendrick. Tim Roth is also in there. He's in like all the Tarantino films. Um, so I'm not really a rom-com girly. Like they're not really my taste in musics, but or taste in movies. But I love this movie. Like, it's hilarious. It is basically like Sad Girl meets Hitman. It starts off with Anna Kendrick, like I think she found her boyfriend cheating or something, She's like drinking wine and crying in a closet. And she ends up going out and meeting this man randomly who ends up being a hitman with brain damage. So he has decided instead of doing the hits, he's going to take out the people trying to hire him. So that's what he's doing in this movie. And he keeps telling her what he's doing, but she thinks he's being like sarcastic and joking. So you have that kind of element going through it. It's a delightful movie. I really enjoyed it. And I love Sam Rockwell overall. I first saw him in Galaxy Quest, which, if you are into anything like Star Trek related, it's fantastic. It was kind of before its time in a lot of ways, and apparently it was kind of ignored by the studio because they had other things to deal with at the time. So they got a lot of freedom, and they have so many great performances in it. So it's Sam Rockwell, Ellen Rickman, Sigourney Weaver, Tony Shalhoub is in it, Enrico. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Colantoni. Apologies, that's probably wrong. Justin Long is in there, and there are a whole bunch of other like bit parts that are just great performances. I love Sam Rockwell in that movie. And this song is really fun too. So, and it feels like it should be like a love song, but the lyrics are, "You're just my type, you have a pulse and you're breathing." So, not that sweet, but it's a fun song.
We love high standards.
Right? Yeah.
Honest, you're honest, I guess. That's
Yeah.
a plus.
Yeah.
Good points for honesty.
uh, and there's also another movie I saw Sam Rockwell in, is like this little indie sci-fi movie called Moon. And that, if you like kind of heady movies, I think he may be the only actor in the movie. It's like a one-man show essentially. Someone else may show up at some point, but he's like working on a station on the moon, and he has to like be there for a year, and then he's supposed to go home. It's really good. I don't want to ruin it, but yeah, I recommend it. um, well, that's our show. I think who should be the winner this week? I'm gonna go with you, Chaotic. Thank you for joining. I love your selections. You're a delight.
Thank you.
Where can people find you online?
You can find me on all social media platforms at Kotic Couture. It's easy besides the spelling because it's not spelled correctly. So it's at KOTICCOUTURE, and that's where I am everywhere. And I think we all won. We all had great selections. A lot of
Thank
good
you.
music.
All right, we will be back with another episode every week, so be sure to hit subscribe. You can follow us everywhere at Discourse Podcast, that's Discourse with 2 C's, and of course find the playlist of all the songs on Spotify and Tidal. You have been a wonderful audience. Good night.